Elaine's.
This is it.
Yeah. I'm just getting situated.
Yeah, we are situated. The cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
And it's welcome.
It's so... do we even say welcome to what episode? We're back. I don't know what number is.
We don't number it. We just...
It is so... I was sitting
to this
here...
week's episode.
Logging into my coffee cup.
Yeah, have things gone too far with the amount of smart devices? Like, I don't see any problem with how the coffee cup was in its original design. Why does that need to be connected to the internet?
First of all, because there are a few video games I can play on.
I'm assuming it's something to keep it warm.
It heats it up. It keeps it warm.
Why would you need an app for that? Why not just have an on-off switch?
I guess for temperature. I think it's stupid. Like, the first time I had to do a firmware update on my coffee cup, I felt very stupid. That seems unnecessary.
It bothers me when I buy a product that I've been using for years, whatever, headphones or whatever you might use for years, and it was easy. It used to just, you plugged it in and you used it.
Yeah.
And now the first thing everything says is download our app.
Yeah.
You download it, then you got to create an account. Yeah. You could choose all of these options, like the lights that you put in my office here.
Yeah.
They're great the 2% of the time when they're working correctly. But man, do I miss just a light switch?
No, we got to fix that.
Flip it on, the lights go on. Flip it off, the light. Like, this was a perfectly designed product, and now I'm sitting there all day long. How do I get my lights on?
That's user error.
How do I change? No, it's not. It
has to be because I have the exact same setup.
I get it right, but it doesn't do it automatically.
I have the exact same setup. I've never used the app. I am right next door to you. And it works flawlessly every time. Now, and I have a more complicated setup.
Listen, I don't know if this is appropriate or not. I think it's worth letting the audience know that
when people start,
you set mine up for me. I did not set it up. So
okay.
I'm just saying that. I'm not just saying that it was your fault. I'm just saying, like, that's how clueless I am about the whole thing. I didn't even go through that process on it.
Worked pretty well when I left. But we can go back and
for about
reboot
5 minutes. It really did. But I don't think it is you. I think that why do we have to bring the internet into everything?
The IoT, the Internet of Things. Well, we were talking a week or two ago.
What is IoT?
The Internet of Things. It's internet connected devices. We were talking a week or two about how toilet paper and something else in our lifetime had seen no improvement. And careful what you wish for, because the coffee cup was just fine. We'll be downloading firmware updates for our toilet paper soon.
I'll be sitting on the toilet waiting for the thing to buffer.
I can't wipe. I gotta wait. I don't know my password.
Exactly. I'm gonna need a PIN.
Is this time to talk about a Toto?
You could always talk about a Toto.
Do people know about it? I don't think most people know about it. Anybody out there know? You know what a Toto is?
Still in the last 5 or 10 years, they've become way more popular.
This is a cross-section of American right
They're
here.
washlets. Toto's just the brand. The washlet is...
Do you know what it is? No, they don't know. Most people don't know. It's the most wonderful invention. I really...
Let me ask you this.
Very big
you go to the bathroom, you take a number 2. You like to be clean when you're done, or you like to be dirty when you're done?
We all like to be clean. It's a pretty simple one.
Yeah.
And the washlet, just
you like to be clean.
For those that don't know, it actually connects to the water supply and shoots water.
Warm water.
Warm water. It's sometimes not warm. You need the more expensive model that's warm, but you can get a cheap one for $40.
But there's two places. The two places that some people use to defecate or urinate that has equipment for both. And
you're saying it's good for men and women, I think, if I can translate.
Listen, a man can use the front spigot too. Sometimes you want to, you want to take the noise for a wash.
Let me take this one.
But it's very...
I feel like we're dwelling on... It is a device that replaces your toilet seat, that hooks up to your water supply line, that cleans you off after you use the restroom.
It swirls it has laser precision.
That's right.
But really helps you... It's a wonderful sanitary device.
I mean, you feel so clean
everybody
afterward.
Should have them. If you can afford it.
I'm on Amazon.
Buy it for Christmas.
If you go on Amazon and you type washlet, one word, there are models that you don't need electricity for. Now, you won't get warm water, but you can connect them yourself, and they're less than $40.
Yeah, they're nothing. They don't need electricity.
Now, if you want the deluxe Cadillac version, yes, Toto makes the full washlet. You need an electrical outlet so it can heat the water. It even has a hairdryer
Yeah.
At the end.
I don't know if it's hair
I
dryer.
don't think it's a hair dryer.
Well, it depends on your behind.
Depends on your grooming habits.
Listen, I have not. Thankfully, I have not seen that part.
It's not a hair dryer in the normal context of the word
Ed
hair.
It is a warm air blower.
By calling it a hair dryer, I think you've just revealed something about yourself unintentionally.
I'm a man of hearty stock.
I walked in on Ed in the bathroom, and now I understand what he was doing.
I'm a man of hearty stock.
I thought I saw Bigfoot.
Listen, I have hair everywhere except the top of my head.
Yeah.
Where I would have liked it.
And it gets you so clean. If you take a toilet paper and wipe after you've used it, that toilet paper is so clean you could use it to blow your nose afterwards.
I don't advise
without
it.
guilt.
You could use it as a napkin eating.
Sure.
Okay.
That
think we should move on.
That was a test subject to thin the audience out. Now that we have the loyalists left, we're going to move on to
Ed just brought up something that I have observed. This is a question for the people of faith in the audience.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
People who really believe in
you're still
God,
listening.
and God bless you. Why would a loving God...
Why would you listen to this?
I see where you're going. Let's
Why
hear
would
it.
a loving God
So many questions
for
start
men
that way.
take the hair from the
Top of their head.
6 or 8 square inches of your whole body that you want hair to be abundant and beautiful?
Yeah.
Why would the God take that away from you as you got older when you're fading anyway and need every bit of help you can get to look nicer? And then not only take it away, but as a final FU, gives it to you on your back, on your ears, in your nose, every place that you wouldn't want it.
I can answer this.
Grows like
I got
crazy.
a theory, but go ahead. Let's hear
Go
yours.
ahead.
Well, I think
What's
that
the loving God rationale in that?
I think when you're young, you probably need those kind of things to feel good about yourself, build confidence, and build up a healthy ego. But as you age, maybe these things are taken away to give you a little perspective in life, how to deal with adversity, how to deal with things that are less than perfect, but still be confident and feel good about yourself.
I mean,
I do think it gives you a little
psychological.
humility.
Yeah.
That certainly is a divine best case scenario. You're like you work for God,
Asian
and you've
people,
got to explain
Asian
it.
people
because
never go
God's
bald.
playing chess, not checkers.
Right,
This is
and he prefers Asian, I guess, because they never go bald.
This is the.
Am I right? I can't picture in my head anybody of an Asian, like an Asian male who's bald.
Oh, sure.
I feel like we've
sure.
crossed a line here.
I don't think so.
All the kung fu guys are bald.
I think by choice. I don't think that
I
that's...
don't know.
Just so you can't grab their hair when you're fighting. All the sumo guys have hair.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is it's, maybe God's thinking, you know what? He's older. He doesn't need to be buying all those products and wasting time brushing his hair when he should be living his last few moments of life.
But what if that's what I want to do?
Well, what
just
about
play with your hair? Brush
somebody
your hair?
like you with a rotator cuff injury?
let me
maybe
tell
you
you-
can't
brush
reach
your
your
back.
hair.
Let me tell you about
Brush your back.
good-looking older men.
Yeah.
If you're not
If anybody knows about this, it's this man
obese,
right here.
Yes.
which I have been, unfortunately, in my life at times.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
If you're somewhat slender, if you have hair, and the more hair the better, the more abundant, thicker. And if you have, do you know what an aquiline nose is? That's a pointy kind of.
Wasn't that a Jethro Tull song?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Aquiline nose?
Oh, aqualung.
No, that's
I don't know.
aquilung. And it could
So
be
you want a
aquilung.
pointy nose.
You want
you want to be thin.
shapely, and
You're describing
you
the
want to have hair.
scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz.
You were in the top. You're in the top 5%
You're
of good-looking.
You
men.
are. Yeah, hair makes a huge difference.
You've seen guys with a full head
I know.
of beautiful
Well,
hair?
let me tell you where you shine, because I've had this experience many times.
I would
with
like
you.
to hear
in the
it.
dark.
You are extremely complimenting complimenting total strangers, typically men.
Oh, on their head of hair,
on their
yeah.
beautiful heads
Yeah,
of
they
hair.
would, they
I can't
would.
even count the
Is
number of
it-
times we've been on an elevator, haven't you?
but is
Where
it
he'll say-
complimenting
he
or
says-
is it jealousy?
It's no, because he
it's-
says
no, it's
he says,
probably
"Sir,
a little of
you
it."
have a magnificent head of hair."
Yeah.
I've heard him use those words. You don't hear
You
magnificent
know what it is?
nearly enough.
You notice it because you wish you had it, which is fine.
yes.
But then you say, "Wow,
But I don't.
You're a beautiful man.
I don't resent it. I wouldn't take
Yeah.
it from them. I'd buy it from them.
yeah,
I could buy a good head of hair because
wait,
I've
whose
asked.
hair are you trying to buy?"
you could. I heard
if
you can go to Turkey.
if you could buy hair, In other words,
You
you could buy a kid. I could go to Juju, or I could go to.
But it would have to be
I don't-
actual, like growing. It would become yours.
Yes,
because you can get a
in
wig.
other words, if you could do such a thing.
You can. I think they have hair transplants.
You know
but,
what? I have heard that's the most painful thing in the
well,
world.
but you can do it.
I would never do it. I
So
don't care.
transitioning from God, this is a question I meant to ask the other day, but I feel like it's
Sorry,
sort
God.
of a weird transition,
Sorry,
but
we're
sort of related. It's you playing God.
transitioning
Have you ever seen?
from me.
Yes.
Have you seen? You're like George
How
Burns.
do we cut his mic?
Have you ever heard this thing? The $1 million death button.
Oh yeah, where
So,
you press this
if there
button
is a
and some
button-
random person in
Yes.
the world that you'll never meet dies.
That's the movie The Box.
Yes, but
How
that
many-
movie was
How many times do you push it?
bought out of that thing. I would
For
never.
$1 million?
You push the button. Some random person in the world dies. You get $1 million every time you push it. How many times do you push
I
it?
push it 0 times.
You know what
I'm not
you're
killing
like?
anybody.
Do you hate anybody?
Not enough for it to immediately pop into mind.
Yeah.
No.
See,
I don't hate
no.
anybody.
I think it would be a temptation, but I would hope.
No,
as
remember
a
it's
human
random.
being-
You don't get to decide.
No, and in the movie, it ends up being somebody that was close to them. But
Right, it's random.
But
Yeah, no,
well, here would be a real thing.
So you don't push it.
You don't push it at all.
Your child has been kidnapped,
Yeah.
and you need $1 million, or you need $10 million.
Yeah.
Would you kill 10 people to save your child? See, that's a much tougher thing. I
So
would
you
not
need
take
the money
I
for
would not
something.
take the $1 million. I would not push the button. I would destroy the box so I wouldn't be tempted to push
Right.
the button. But if it was my child, would you kill 10 people to save your
You
child?
know, well, listen, I
that
think,
would be a
we
temptation.
actually know the answer to that, because what is war but the decision to kill if need be for the protection, and primarily you're not really worried about protecting anything other than your family, your children.
No. Like I've often thought that Harry Truman, for those of you who don't know, he was a president. He succeeded
Oh, that's right,
Franklin
from
Delano
Missouri.
Roosevelt.
He dropped the big one.
from Missouri.
And that's the big
And
two.
he made the decision to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I was in Japan the last few years, and we went to
you gotta
Hiroshima.
make sure to add the
No,
part where
not
it's
at the
70
time.
years
No, I
after the
was not.
fact.
Although, there was a guy who was in Hiroshima and was taken to the hospital after the atomic blast, and they took him for more treatment to Nagasaki, where he was there when the second bomb exploded.
You
Can you
hear? I think
imagine?
there were a
I've
few
heard those
people who were in
stories, yeah.
both.
And
Isn't
then
that
he
horrible?
lived to be about 90 years old.
So he
for all-
survived them both?
He survived them both and lived a
Wow.
long life.
Is Harry Truman the biggest I mean, if you consider it mass murder, which I
Yes.
don't see
No.
how you don't.
No, probably
Who's
Pol
killed-
Pot, or probably Stalin, or Hitler.
Yeah, I think technically
Yeah,
Stalin
yeah,
won
yeah,
Hitler.
yeah.
They're up in the 50, 60 million.
Yeah, that's true. Truman's nothing.
No, but
But still, how many people must have died? Well over 1 million, I would
and
think,
we really,
right?
even now in hindsight, it's really hard to know, because we don't live in the multiverse. We don't know how things
Right.
would have played out otherwise.
Although
Very difficult to know what this world would look like
That's
if,
a pretty
if we
messed
hadn't
up.
seen the power of it.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
they say that the decision that Truman made, which I frankly, by any definition of the word, would send you to hell by any religion. How could you not be sent to hell for that decision?
If you're
but it saved. Maybe
Yeah.
they thought 500,000 to 1 million lives
Right.
by killing 150,000 totally innocent people.
Right.
I mean, these
I
weren't.
don't know,
This
though.
was indiscriminate. These were not soldiers. These were
Right,
men,
yeah.
women, and children.
that-
just
But that's sort of the dilemma with self-driving cars a little bit, is the algorithm. When you're programming these things,
yeah.
there are some decisions to be
Right.
made. Let's say the driver is, whatever happens, a school bus full of children lets out and 20 kids are walking across the street. The car has to make a decision, which is built into the algorithm. Do I mow down these kids, or do I drive the driver off the cliff to the left? The driver's going to die and save 20 kids, or 20 kids are going to die and save the driver.
Do you program it for self-preservation
Right.
or for the greater good?
Right.
And that's the ethical dilemma built into self-driving.
But is that I've heard this as a hypothetical, but do you really believe that it's ever been built into a safe self-driving algorithm? Do you think there is a car either now or being developed that has the ability to within that split second say, 5 bodies, 5 people, I can go into 5 people, or I can go off the cliff myself and be killed.
I would say absolutely.
Yeah, I don't.
You think
They do, because they have to run tests and algorithms, and they have to say, what is the car going to do if there are no good alternatives? It has to make a choice. And that happens on the road all the time.
I wonder,
when the ice... Well, with the ice, you really can't do much about that, even on a self-driving. But there are plenty of situations that come up where there's really no good solution.
I don't believe that there's a car today driving on the road autonomously that is implementing that. But I do believe that there is software.
But there's something in their program
being developed.
Maybe.
And part of the reason is there just really are not self-driving cars right now. You know, there are cars out there that should be, but I think there are different levels of self-driving, and I don't think we have gotten.
But unfortunately,
food's here.
There are a lot of people.
There you go. Finally,
that think there are self-driving cars.
Yeah. Pass that on over here.
Look how it's labeled lawyers. I love that. We're going to just divert from that conversation for just a moment because the food arrived, and we're big fans of hot food. I'm excited today because we are trying a place that not only have I never been to, but prior to today or last night, I had never even heard of, which is very rare for me when it comes to a good food place.
So it's on Cherokee Street, and I've passed it a bunch of times and looked it up.
Advance notice. I wasn't told last night we were.
And I think part of me was.
You got to ask sometimes.
I've seen it. I've heard it was good. I looked it up. The reviews have always been good. I've passed it a bunch of times, but then I think also. The name stuck in my head because
famous place
Elaine's is where Woody Allen, I think, used to go, and a bunch of other celebrities.
Joel mentions that in one of his songs.
That was in the song Big Shot. He mentioned but wait, can I say this? One interesting thing about Elaine's, just looking at the front of their menu, and they do Uber Eats and DoorDash and Postmates, worth knowing, so you don't have to go to their store. They're closed Wednesdays. How random is that?
Well, it's better than a restaurant being closed on a Sunday.
Yeah, or Monday, which a lot of the restaurants are closed on Monday.
Yeah, you would think a lot of restaurants now that everything in St. Louis is closed on Monday and Tuesday would say, no, we're going to be open on Monday because there is nowhere to eat.
You know what I would do is that's when you want to use a ghost kitchen and do DoorDash only or delivery only.
You choose Crunch and Munch, Trashed Chicken, Hot Honey Crunker, or Po' Boy.
I don't think you're speaking English.
It's hard to read.
Why don't we? Do we have? Give me you have a
Po' Boy, Hot Honey Cruncher or something, Trashed Chicken, and Crunch and let's go Crunch and Munch so the crunch doesn't get soft.
While you're cutting that, I am going to let people know what is on the Crunch and Munch. The Crunch and Munch has got turkey. It's got bacon. It has chips on there. So this is the second place that has utilized chips.
Oh, and it's in a tortilla.
Has something called Hatch Pepper Cheddar. And it's recommended to have onion, spinach, banana peppers, and microgreens. Look at that. They made this healthy. Yeah. It is sauced with chipotle, and it's on a flour wrap.
What is chipotle?
Chipotle?
I know it's a restaurant.
It's a pepper.
It's a pepper, yeah.
Chipotle?
Yeah, whenever you're dealing with any kind of Mexican food, and you're not sure what the thing is, 9 out of 10 times it's a pepper.
Hey, should we get some of those ghost peppers? And
no, that's insane. Unless you want to eat it, but honestly, it'll kill you.
No, I don't want to.
Do you get served up any of this content on my algorithm? Is so messed up right now.
I'm curious what your algorithm even is. What are you getting served up
right now? Some really messed up stuff. Me and some friends got into there's a guy who's just a despicable human being. But there is something. Oh,
here, no, I'll just use a napkin. Go
Juju.
ahead.
No, I gotcha. Who's a despicable guy? A few plates, please.
You know what's impressive? The fact that this even stayed
3 or 4
on.
of them. Yeah,
well, as good as you did.
Knife. It's a neat sandwich.
And and he has some horrible content. He's a horrible guy. But there's something that you can't stop watching. And
what does he do?
I don't want to give too much detail.
Okay.
Will you trade me plates?
Will you tell us after we're through?
You know who it is? I'll give you an example of how he's despicable. And this is without getting too political. Oh. He's the guy who said, I like to give homeless people counterfeit $20 bills.
I know.
Because then I feel good about myself because I gave something to a homeless person and they're happy. but then they get arrested because of the counterfeit money, and I'm cleaning up the streets too, so it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And then he has some smirk. So he's horrible, and
He's
has a lot
jerk.
of content like that. But there's something you can't stop watching about him, and because of that,
Taps into your dark nature.
no. And then there's also a guy named Mickey Mace who's a professional gambler who I've watched a few things, and so it really, these things really messed up my algorithm. I'm getting some dark stuff right now as a result. But there's this guy Tim Naki, who's I think a New Zealand guy who's I'm getting a lot of degenerate gamblers. And there's like a thing where, today we're betting a nickel for every follower I have. And some of these people have like a million followers. So at one point he was betting like $150,000 a hand on blackjack.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, that actually brings up a great point. We all know that reaction videos are enormously popular.
Yeah.
And when it first started out, I thought, well, this is kind of clever because you're basically repurposing somebody else's popular content.
That's good.
Delicious. And making it your own. But I spent some time thinking about the psychology of why we love watching reaction videos. And I think for me, and you may have your own theories, but there is that vicarious thrill that you get where it's almost like you're getting to see it for the first time again through this new person's eyes. And if you've ever loved a movie or a TV show, you know that excitement of saying to your partner or a friend, oh, have you watched so-and-so? Come over. I watched it, but I want to watch it with you. Because you really want to see if they have that same experience that you did.
Could you define a reaction video?
A reaction video is the ones where it's a split screen and you're seeing somebody watching a
react to
popular
something.
viral video. In some instances, it's like the one you sent me where those young men were listening to a song that they had never heard before, and we were getting their first impression, and those were enormously popular. There's a drummer, and he's got a very long, complicated name, but he drums in a manner that I've never seen before in my life. And I love watching the reaction videos of professional drummers watching this guy, because there's something super cool about seeing them just blown away by what this guy can do.
You know where the reaction video started, I believe?
I do
Think
not.
back. When's the first time you ever saw it?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
I know exactly when it was. I can't even say it out loud while we're eating.
Oh, I can say it.
We
don't have to describe it.
It was the 2 gals in a cup.
2 girls, 1 cup. That's right. It was and what's fascinating
It
about
was the
that?
grandmother. Remember the grandmother watching?
Yeah.
And what was nice about that was...
For those who don't know,
they
this was a despicable,
horrifically disgusting.
I don't want to call it
Video.
pornographic because it was just... It wasn't. It was just...
It was...
I think it probably...
I think you.
the worst,
you know,
the
the
darkest
Supreme
side
Court-
of human
You've described
behavior.
it enough.
that famous, the Supreme Court, I don't remember which justice. I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it.
Who was that?
Please give me that.
Douglas?
This was
I don't want you
grotesque
messing that
beyond
I think
all
that
measure.
was
Yeah.
Douglas.
Anyway, but so that was the first time I can remember the reaction videos, and those were great watching people
You were
because
right.
it was
I'm glad it
a
came to me.
horrible video. What's fascinating about 2 girls, 1 cup is go try to find it. It is
It's
the
gone?
only thing in history that has disappeared from the
Lord.
internet.
If
It is
there was
gone.
one thing you know why? Because every so often God listens to prayers, and everybody collectively said, "Please make this video not exist
But
anymore."
I didn't even think that was possible for
But
something
this guy
to be
showed
taken
it
off
to
the
his
internet.
grandmother.
Wow, this is a nice knife.
And the grandmother, it was recorded watching it, and now. Can you get that video? Can you get the grandmother reaction video?
would
Because
think-
that didn't show the actual video; it only showed her reaction.
I would think
and
there
it's
are
one of the
reaction
funniest things
videos
I've ever
left.
seen.
I don't know why those would have disappeared.
Let me ask you this: Who is a great curator of great material that you follow? I have one in mind. Everything she posts, she curates. She finds great stuff around the internet that makes her laugh, and then she posts it on hers. The comedian Amy Sedaris is such a spectacular curator. If you follow her on Instagram, every single thing she posts tickles me in just the right spot. My sense of humor and hers must be
Where
in
is
lockstep.
that spot, Ed?
It's just a little bit above the navel.
What sandwich was this?
Oh, this is the
Somewhere
the
around my
trashed
hairy behind.
chicken.
That's good.
You know, Ed, I'm more into original content.
Are you?
I'm joking. I don't even know what that means.
You know what that tastes like? That's very fresh. Doesn't that taste fresh? What is this one?
This is the trashed chicken.
Okay.
You know, the Germans,
Jalapeno bacon, hatch pepper cheddar.
The Germans have a psychological
Very good.
word for a lot of states of mind
Mm-hmm.
that other people, things,
That's right.
things
You just said
you've
it,
thought
Schadenfreude.
of. Yeah, Schadenfreude or whatever.
Farfignugan.
Here's one. When you recognize that the stuff you're being served up is saying something about who you are
Yeah.
because of what you've done,
Yeah.
and you're horrified
Oh, yeah.
by who you are from the algorithm that they've created about your taste. I, for some reason,
Oh, boy.
am getting a lot of Hell's Angels. And I'm afraid because I think they're wonderful gentlemen and knights of the highway. And I don't want to, I don't want to erase them because I don't want them to be offended at me. But I, for some reason, am getting a lot of Hell's Angels.
Huh.
And
Well, let me ask you this. What else are you looking at? 'Cause
I don't
I'm trying
know.
to think of
Yeah.
what you would have been targeted for.
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
and my algorithm, it was fine, cruising along until I really. It became a joke between a few friends and I that we would send these things that were horrible, and now all of our algorithms are just. I mean, I'm getting some.
You know what? You're going to
terrible
have
stuff.
to start from scratch with a new identity.
I don't know what to do. I mean, it's
I
it's
guess
slowly
you
getting
have to
better.
slowly not click on them and click on other
Can't
things.
resist.
Got to lose
Yeah.
interest.
I
But
can.
it's really scary.
Where did Temu come from? Like
Right.
a year ago, nobody had ever heard of it, and now I cannot escape Temu no matter
Temu.
what I do.
Tara is I don't know if you get it served up.
It's buying products,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it's like-
but like
But they're like
They're
knights
ridiculously
and
cheap.
Yeah,
it's
you
almost
like-
like you can't even
buy this for like 18 cents or
Yeah,
something.
but is it legit? I mean, I have bought
Yeah.
a couple
Oh, yeah, yeah.
things from them, and
Steph
they,
has too.
and they actually were like what they purported to
but
be.
they have to be toxic. I mean, flammable clothing. It's I wouldn't.
All
and,
clothing
and,
is flammable.
and you know what? Also, imagine the conditions under which those are made.
I don't want to imagine that. I just want a scale for
Yeah,
$13.
Listen, if you couldn't afford to buy the legitimate version, then
Yeah,
I
but
get
wait
it.
a
Shop
second.
on
Are
Temu,
you
but
convinced that the legitimate version is made under better conditions? I think the legitimate version may just be they're putting more money in their
It depends
pocket.
on what it is, but I
don't
think
know.
a lot of times because the quality is often different. Let's go to this hot honey chicken.
Oh, you know what? Well, we said it last time around. Hot honey is the new.
Yeah.
that's the new sriracha. Remember what sriracha was 10 years ago?
Oh, it's still there.
Is it?
pickle.
Yeah.
You never
Dill
hear
pickle
about
is
it.
a big flavor.
Oh,
too.
this is a big wrap place
I
here.
actually made. They now do a dill pickle seasoning to shake on
Oh.
your popcorn, and
You know,
it is delicious.
Well, I'm cutting this. Tell the rose pickle story. I feel like people
Well,
should
is
know
it a
that.
story or is it just the most phenomenal name
Rose
in the history?
pickle works.
She's
with
one
us
of our
at Brown
paralegals.
and
She's
Cooper.
actually the president of the St. Louis Paralegal Association.
And it's been here for what? Probably 10,
15 years.
Yeah.
Wonderful young woman.
And
Yeah.
so but that's her natural born given name is Rose Pickle. She recently got married. Her husband's last name was Dill. They decided
No.
to hyphenate their name, and her
Really?
name legally right now is Rose Dill Pickle.
You don't know that?
And we didn't believe it at first, but she brought in her driver's license.
Yeah.
Andy probably has a picture
I do.
of it, but
I
you don't want to
absolutely
show
do.
a person's driver's license on the video. But trust us when we say her
Rose?
name is Rose Dill Pickle.
Dill
It's the
Pickle.
greatest name in the world.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, no, it really is.
No one believes
Yeah.
me, and that's why I took a picture of her driver's license.
And she's a nice gal. But
I think I
She
can-
is half sour.
With her permission, she may be more than half sour on some days.
Yeah, I don't
Who
like
is
a
it?
half
You
sour.
remember
Or
No.
half
Rose-
dill.
We
What
like
is it,
a
half
full
dill?
sour. I don't know who likes half sour.
Rose
Wait.
used to like find baby birds outside and bring them into the office. She's a real animal lover. I think she may have brought a bat into the office or
They see,
almost did
that
one
just
day.
tells me she loves animals.
She does.
Hates humans.
No, I think she actually likes humans too,
Why'd
unless
she
you
bring a
cross
bat
her.
in?
Yeah, that's true. It was
You
a
know.
baby bat.
Even so. So what? I'm going to be a baby vampire.
Now, is this very much like one we had already?
That's for you to decide.
This was a variation, but this one has hot honey. And is that a little mustard I'm getting?
You have the menu. Let us know what's on it.
Okay. It's got chicken. It's got chips. Everything's got a little. That little crunch makes a big difference. Actually has Havarti. That's Havarti cheese that you're tasting there. And they do put on some microgreens, some
I like
pickles, some
Havarti.
onion, a little jalapeno. Oh, and it is served with honey mustard. So yes,
What's your favorite cheese?
Generally I don't particularly care for cheese.
Parmesan
No.
or blue.
I guess mozzarella.
What?
'Cause I
Wait.
really-
First of all, Parmesan,
Is,
how can
I
that be
believe
your
it's-
favorite cheese?
I like the flavor,
Oh, I love
put it on
Parmesan. It's
everything.
just, I don't know.
but I'll eat a piece of off a big brick. I'll eat a piece of
Really?
You
You
if-
like the kind that
if-
has the little crystals?
I don't even know what that is.
It's like you'll get a little crunch like in it.
What are you, a pecorino romano?
I don't know what my favorite cheese is. That's
You like
hard.
blue
Oh, you know what? I love cream cheese.
Oh, cream
That's
cheese.
my favorite cheese.
Yeah,
You like blue cheese?
I do.
Yeah, that's a little harsh for me.
I've told you, I've only eaten one thing in my life that I can remember that I did not like.
Well,
What is that?
Oh, I've never told you this.
No.
When I lived in Florence, Italy for a semester in college, and every day there's this guy in those like motor scooters that have sort of been built up into, they have like cargo in the back, and the guy had built it into like a little food truck. And every day there is a line around the corner of
Head of his
Italians waiting for this sandwich. And the line was so long, and so I never waited. So finally one day I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I have to wait. And I get it. And it was a tripe sandwich, and which I don't mind tripe.
what is
but
tripe exactly?
Tripe is, I think,
lungs?
stomach,
Some
isn't
kind of
it?
intestine.
Or
Yeah,
intestine or stomach?
It looks disgusting.
Yeah.
It looks like you're eating a
Hey,
air
Siri,
filter.
what is
Yeah.
tripe?
This guy was a genius.
Edible lining from the stomach.
There you go.
So anyway, and I took one bite, and I didn't even swallow it. I went and threw it away and spit it out. It was the
Where did they get it wrong?
I don't know. I don't remember the flavor, but it's weird that I didn't like it because I've eaten tripe many times and it's fine.
Why? Was somebody paying you? Were you under threat of violence?
No, the other times I ate tripe was
You go to a lot of places and get tripe.
I had a friend and intestine and
people.
stuff. I have a friend, a good friend of mine, Henry, whose father was Taiwanese.
Oh, Henry.
May he rest in peace. And his mother is from
Henry's father
Tokyo
died?
years ago.
Oh,
And so
But thank you.
when I lived in New York and we would go to these Chinese restaurants in Chinatown with him, and he would order. He wouldn't even tell me what it was until he would tell me, "What's this? Don't ask me now. Call me in 3 days and say, Mr. Lee, what was that?" He wouldn't even tell me.
God.
And
See.
so there was a lot of tripe and unidentified objects you'd eat, and it was all delicious. I really can't
What
think of
was
anything
the most
but that.
exotic thing you've ever eaten that you almost embarrassed to let the world know you ate? Was it a poodle?
Duck tongues.
No.
Duck tongues.
Maybe monkey brain.
We-
No, I've never eaten monkey brain.
We were in China.
Yeah.
And we were at a
I
restaurant.
do like duck tongue.
And Andy orders duck tongues, which is not some euphemism for something else. Duck tongues is tongues
The tongue of a
ducks.
duck.
And you eat them it's like an artichoke. You hold it and you scrape
Ugh.
whatever it is. It was the most, and he orders them. And I don't want to just say, you're out of your mind, because we had 1,000-year-old eggs, which actually aren't 1,000-year-old eggs, but they're maybe more disgusting than
What?
1,000.
Really?
You think
Wait a
1,000-year-old
second.
eggs are gross?
Yeah.
What? They
And
were-
then he orders.
I don't like any eggs.
He orders a big
let alone
bowl of
1,000-year-olds.
duck tongues, and it was the.
Did you like it? Did you eat it?
I try. He was saying, "Dad, try." Yeah, I tried it,
Oh.
and it was. It really didn't have a ton of flavor of any sort.
Right.
It was just disgusting. I'm thinking of all these mute ducks.
Did you enjoy the taste, or did you enjoy that feeling of I conquered duck tongues?
There
I
was
don't
no.
think it was. There's no I conquered duck tongues. I thought they tasted good, but probably in that environment, it's probably also fun because I enjoy it to also gross people out a little bit.
Yeah, you know what's delicious are potato chips. Yeah, I
So
would stick with
1,000-year-old
those.
eggs are just eggs that they have
Disgusting
like marinated in
They're-
something for
they're-
a while,
yeah, they're-
and so they take on sort of like a purple and black and orange. They have various. They kind of look like Mars once you slice them open.
That's really everything
it's
you're saying is
disgusting.
disgusting to me.
And
This
then
is why
when
you're
I-
getting
when I
terrible
asked the
things in
guy
your
about
feed.
the duck
Punishment.
It is.
When
Could
I
be.
asked the guy about the duck tongues, he says, "There's no more quacking in our village.
That's it. No,
They're gone.
They're gone. No,
the quack is gone."
Now I'm
let me ask
certain
you
we
this.
have crossed a
when
line.
you're eating a portion of these,
I guess, is this the kind of thing when
How
you're
many
over
come in an order?
75? Oh, I don't know, 30?
are they each from a different duck?
How many? You ever seen a two-tongued duck?
No, I didn't know if they cut one tongue into multiple pieces.
No, it's like the jawbone.
So,
and,
like 30 ducks had to die for you to have a disgusting
I
appetizer?
think probably
Oh, it was
they
a whole
aren't
duck
harvesting.
family.
No.
But Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, did
were
you
there.
specifically
You
ask
are-
for baby ducks? You
You're
cruel
looking
bastard.
at this, the 180 degrees wrong. These ducks
They're already.
are being killed. And so what they're saying is why
make
waste
use
the
of all of
tongue?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a very Native American.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I'm guessing that's all they thought
ethos.
about was
Well, and when you
if
have,
we have to kill the
back
duck.
to the
over 1 billion people in your population, you really can't waste anything.
No,
Yeah.
that's
you know.
and why
they
would you?
eat
And because
anything.
it's all psychological.
It is psychological. It's
when
true.
you
I
were
eat a
saying-
chicken breast.
My
Why is
mother-
that more comfortable?
My mother
you
used
know?
to
Right.
have to make tongue, and you would open the refrigerator,
Yeah.
and if you've never seen it, a tongue, a
just-
cow tongue,
She set it up.
looks like a regular tongue,
Uh-huh.
except
It's
real
enormous.
150 times
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, it's enormous.
And it would be just this tongue sticking, and she would slice pieces off of it. And, you just wanted to...
That's gross.
Oh,
You know, it's amazing the
horrible.
things, but I guess we have to, right? That's
And
survival.
I can't eat a tentacle. My wife
Like
loves
octopus?
I don't eat octopus.
I don't
eat squid.
Squid, I
I eat
cannot
none of
eat
that.
a tentacle.
I will
Those are
eat-
creatures of the
I
sea.
eat squid. I stopped eating octopus. Not because I don't like it. It's
ethically.
delicious.
Ethically.
It's just they are such remarkable
they are.
creatures.
Rubber. It looks like rubber.
I'll tell you,
But it doesn't taste like
I had
rubber.
a strange
I was told it does
encounter
taste like rubber.
with a squid.
Well,
Okay.
Would you like
wait,
to-
yes,
Was
I
there
want to hear every
LSD
detail, but we have
involved?
one sandwich. Can you cut the fourth
Yeah.
sandwich?
Yeah, get the
While
sandwich.
it's cutting that, I got it because I have not heard this.
It was
I've not
actually-
heard
it
this
was-
squid
it was-
encounter.
It was actually 3 squid.
Okay,
I was
how big is a squid?
Well, a squid, as you know,
I mean, most of them are
the
like
they're very
giant.
little.
The
Okay.
giant squid can be 60,
Which
80
did you
feet long.
interact with?
Not
I
giant.
interacted with 3 squid that were about 1.5 feet, 2 feet long.
Okay, all right. So about
I
4.5
would-
feet
I
worth of
was-
squid.
Okay, I was in.
request to
I
get your
was
mic
in
closer.
Mexico. In
Do we need to
I don't
start
know.
over, Stephen? Have we gotten all of his?
No, he was in Mexico.
Wisdom.
We're going to hear about 3 squid.
yes,
About
and
4.5 feet
I'm
worth of
I'm
squid.
snorkeling, and I look up, and about 6 feet from me
That was a great knife.
are 3 squid just hanging in the water. But 1, 2, 3. They were in a line. They were lined up perfectly. And they have big eyes and they're staring at me. And I'm like 6 feet from here to the end of the table. I'm looking at them. They're looking at me. And, I wasn't afraid, but it was odd. And we sat there in that eyes locked on each other for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then they swam away.
Now,
but it was weird. I mean, they were
Did
studying
they pose
me.
a threat to humans? I mean, what
No.
would they do
not
to
not
you?
that. Well, they have
Nothing.
they have a beak that I guess they could bite you with it.
And there is, I don't think.
But these are
I
small
mean, you don't
animals.
hear a lot of these things.
But-
Wait,
but
squid have a beak? I thought they were just totally
No,
soft.
octopus have a beak as well. As a matter of fact, when they find giant squid, one of the giant squid, which can be, as I say, 60, 80 feet,
Right.
just recently have we ever even seen a picture of one.
Right.
They were always found dead.
20,000
But a giant
leagues under the
when
sea.
they find the bodies or the beaks of squid in the stomachs of sperm whales because they have these colossal battles because sperm whales feed on giant squid.
Oh, they're like lions and hyenas. They
No,
hate
I
each
mean,
other.
I mean, that's crazy. Which sandwich is this, by the way? Because
That's the po' boy.
that's what I thought it was, but I don't see that specifically listed
Maybe it was a special.
on the thing.
Or
They have something
maybe-
called a Joey Boy.
Bum, 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 bum.
Maybe the Joey Boy is their version of it.
I don't know.
Does that have turkey, ham, bacon,
And
Gouda? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is their poor boy is called a Joey boy. Maybe Joey's poor.
Podcasters poisoned by
Maybe that's what it is.
disgruntled employee.
I wonder, do you think that's Elaine? There's a little picture of a woman on there holding a gigantic sandwich. I wonder
Who
if
else
that's
would it
Elaine.
be?
Oh, wait a second. On the back, I
don't
think there's
that's
an actual
a sandwich.
No, there is a picture of Elaine on the back. They're committed to bringing you fresh, quality, local ingredients. Can I tell you something? I didn't even read this before, and didn't I make that comment to you? If there's one thing I would say about these sandwiches beyond how delicious they are,
I remember that.
the vegetables on there they taste like they're right out of a garden. It has that microgreen,
It's good.
almost
they have
a little
very good
earthiness
sandwich
there. And they don't, even though they have the appropriate condiments, there's not too much of it on there.
You guys follow
Wait,
the
that
NBA?
must be Elaine. Elaine
on the back. On the
Elaine
back.
may have dreadlocks.
Anybody
Hey, listen,
follow the
that's her
NBA?
right. 3 up? For
Yeah.
the
And
Celtics?
which
And
no one has
Local
ever
boy.
come back from that.
No, never. And we got our local boy.
and local boy, yes.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum.
And it's
Jason
not going to
Tatum.
happen. When did the Celtics last win? 2 years ago?
2008.
Oh no, they lost. That's right. What was that? 3
will be
years
Tatum's
ago?
first
When did they play when did they lose to the Warriors? Okay.
And,
Who won last year? Denver?
Yep.
Okay.
and he's apparently in line to sign a $300 million deal.
You know, that voice in the background, if you're able to hear, it's my son who went to CBC, which Jason Tatum went to Chaminade, who's a rival, but Jason's father had been a physical education instructor during the time that Brody was at CBC for all 4 years. Now he doesn't work there anymore. But so there's a little closeness. And I think that anytime you got a local guy who's made good
You root for him.
and who gets that far, I mean, me rooting for a Boston team, as much as I despise the Red Sox, the fact that I'm pulling for the Celtics, I don't even recognize myself, but there's something about local pride.
I can't
local
go home
pride.
if I'm rooting for the Celtics.
Is that right? They
Yeah,
would
my
throw you the
daughter
hell out.
hates the Celtics for some reason.
Really? Maybe
Well,
she doesn't like the color green.
you know what? She
Ruby?
really likes the Heat, and so I think I don't know.
What would you do if you signed a $300 million? What's the first thing you would go out and buy?
Yeah, Bitcoin. I don't know.
Maybe nothing.
Duck tongues. I don't know. There's nothing I can think of that is like the first thing I would buy.
I don't have anything like that. I don't even know what the next thing I'm going to buy is.
Maybe a big chain.
I have to wait for the inspiration to strike.
Yeah, some Cuban links and my Jesus piece. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what any of that meant, but it had a
Could
good
you
comedic
explain
rhythm to it.
Would it work?
Well, Cuban links are a
Sausage?
type of chain.
Oh,
It is a style of link.
Oh,
They're sort of, you'd see them. They're kind of thick, and you'd know what they
so
were.
this would be used in a chain,
Well,
perhaps?
it is a chain, yeah. And then the Jesus piece is just like a lot of people wear a big image of Jesus with diamonds on it.
Oh,
That's not what I would buy. It was,
Is that right?
Yeah, not what I would buy. Going back to when we were talking about the $1 million death button, and you added the element of your children, it reminded me of a question I had for the two of you. So, you for the moment are Joe Biden, and fast forward and assume Hunter, who was found guilty,
Yes.
ends up getting some prison time, which I think is somewhat likely.
Yes.
Now, let's say he gets 10 years. I don't think he will, but long enough so it extends beyond.
It's a significant prison term.
Well, the point is it extends
see where you're
beyond
going with this.
Joe Biden either losing this election or winning this election. And so he's out of office either way when Hunter is still in jail. He has come out and said he will not pardon his son. And I think that's the right move today. But let's say he loses the election and he's on his way out, or he wins the election, fast forward, on his way out of the second term. Do you think he pardons him? And would you? What's the
now,
right
let me
thing
ask you
to
this.
do?
Is there is a difference between being granted clemency and being given a pardon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. But
So, I mean,
just get him out of jail is really the point.
and that's clemency, right? Is the
I think
ability
so,
to
yeah.
get them out of jail. It doesn't take the felony off their record. It doesn't
Or
expunge
you commute
it.
the sentence.
Yeah, you can commute the sentence, which is, I guess, a form of clemency.
Although, to
I
be
guess.
honest with you, what difference does that make?
Well,
I mean,
I guess-
it's a little better for him.
Well, it's better to not be in jail. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's also you're no longer a felon. I think if you're pardoned of the crime.
Right.
I think that, you know.
I think it would be, if it was me, I would pardon. If he wins the election, that means, boy, I would pardon my son or my daughter. I mean, I would just do it.
I think.
Well, let me say this. In this situation in particular, since there was no loss of human life, there's no particular victim.
It was the kind of thing that, many people, do not get charged with. Were a lot of consideration. I would pardon him.
Let's say this. It would be an abuse of his power. I don't think there's any question about that. But
I'm not
people
sure I
abuse
agree
their
with
power
that.
all the time.
Now,
listen, of course, nobody else with that kind of case could even get it in front of the
But
president.
this could be a perfect opportunity.
To do what?
Pardon him,
Yeah.
resign. Let somebody else take over. At this point, it was the perfect reason to do it. Get a more vigorous candidate that I think would have a better chance.
Wait.
It's just a little too late.
You're saying resign before the election?
Yeah,
Right.
get Gavin Newsom.
I think
in
it's
there.
too because remember
Because
what
if
Biden.
he couldn't. Yeah, I mean, he could do it. But let's say he's elected. Then what does he do? Then if he did it, I don't think he could do it and stay in office. It would have to be at the end of
That's
something.
what I think. Well, I don't know. I mean, because remember, his consideration is not just his son. He's the president. He's got to do what's good for the country too. And so I agree that it either has to be.
It's what good for the is pardoning your son bad for the country? I mean,
Yes, because of the ripple effect.
It's an abuse of power. It's that we're above the law. Then it makes them no better than you.
I'm not sure that's right.
If you took a poll of people in the United States and it was an honest poll,
You take their political position out of
something
it.
brand new that we've never had before.
right?
Okay.
If you could look into their hearts,
Right.
I believe
Most people would.
an overwhelming
Of course they would.
majority would do it.
Right.
And frankly, for that reason, I wouldn't have any. I mean, if I was a father, I would hate to have to do it, but I would certainly do it. And frankly, if he could do it, resign, put somebody, a better candidate.
It's too late for that.
It's too late for that.
It
It is. It's way too late for that.
It's never too
It doesn't
late.
matter. And let me say this.
It's never too late.
I think we could
What
guess
do you-
what
well,
other
it is,
people
of
would
course.
do under the same circumstances.
Why do you
and I don't
why
think
is
they
it
would
too late?
hesitate.
Because I think that it's close enough to the election that I think by resigning and selecting someone else,
He doesn't get to pick.
Because listen, at this point, I think there's no
There's
person who I've ever heard of who has a more likely chance of winning for the Democrats. And so I think by resigning and handing, I don't even know how that works, to be honest with you.
No,
But
he doesn't get to
it would
hand
work.
anything to anybody.
Right.
And quite
It would be
frankly,
chaos.
Of course,
it would be. This may be one of the worst ideas.
How does that
No,
happen?
I don't think.
Well, I
let's say-
think it goes to the DNC. I think that
they come up with another
Yeah,
candidate.
they have to come up with a
They-
candidate.
What
And
are
of
they-
course,
I know, of course they
and-
have.
but yes,
you know,
but then the
they-
big pressure would be the assumption that it would be the vice president, and that doesn't give them the best chance of winning either.
Right.
So then you have to deal with all the backlash of that.
No,
It's just not a great.
Hunter's got to sit
I
in
would
jail,
much
certainly
rather-
until after the election.
Listen, if he committed the crime, he deserves to sit in jail for this amount of time.
Now-
I mean, you do the crime, you pay the time.
Biden loses this election.
Absolutely, you pardon him.
If
of
he
course.
doesn't, he's kind of an ass,
He's
right?
81
He
years
has
old.
to,
He's
right?
going to be a lame duck if that's
Of
the
course he
case. Yeah, of course you pardon him.
Like all the there is no excuse for him not pardoning.
No,
because remember, Ed, I remember this crime. What I understand it to be is if you use any type of illegal drug, and that includes, I think, cannabis, you cannot own a firearm according to federal gun laws.
I mean, it's a Schedule I drug. You're
Not
right.
any. It is, but I think they're changing that
But it's not-
soon.
as of
That's
right
right
now.
And so I think what he was charged with is a crime that people are almost never charged with.
Correct.
It is very rare. So I do think there was a political nature to the charges to begin with. And, you know, should he do jail time for it? Probably not. I think there's also, and because of who he is, he's not going to get necessarily a fair shake. But the fact that he was a raging addict who, by all accounts, has gotten his life together and is clean, probably should not get jail time, but I don't know the political makeup of the court. I was shocked, actually, because it was a federal court in Delaware where Biden is very popular, obviously. I was surprised that a jury convicted him there.
But it's an interesting question. When you prosecute somebody like this, like the former president and Hunter Biden, should you err in the side of, because he's the former president, he should get a break? Or do you take the position that because he was the president and he should know better, and he is the person who should set an example for laws being followed, do you charge a crime because he should be held to at least the highest standard of behavior?
Well, I think that's a common thing, people being held to a higher standard.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to a law like that, it's just, there should be a unified standard.
That's right. I agree.
Nobody's above the law, but nobody's below the law.
Well, but remember, in both of these crimes, these are both cases, I think, that both crimes are crimes that are technically crimes. No question.
Sure.
They're legal. There was a violation of the law.
Yes.
But I think in Trump's case and in Biden's case, they are cases that are generally not prosecuted this way.
Well,
that's right.
Yes, but is that true? Or is it just that they're not reported? Because if it was anybody else, these would be considered minor crimes.
No. Well, that's my point.
Oh, listen, it's a felony. He could get up to 30 years in prison. I don't think there's anything minor.
No, but I'm saying that but it is minor, because every day there are a million stories of people being found guilty of things that can get them in jail for 30 years.
So when you say if it's a crime, he ought to do the time. Yes, but this is that kind of crime that's generally not prosecuted to this extent.
Right.
Not prosecuted at all.
I don't know that that's true.
Well,
I think you're making that as an assumption.
In Trump's case, I think this was a sort of, from what I've heard, a unique sort of interpretation. I don't know if there have been many prosecutions under this, the way they did it.
Right. I think that.
And so, I mean, I'm no fan, but I'm saying I think these were people that were committed crimes, but they were crimes that are often not pursued.
And I think that in Trump's case, I think that even if it is prosecuted, I think people seldom get jail time. Trump should not.
I don't think he's going to get jail time.
I think it would be.
I don't think he would.
Not on this case.
No.
Now, I think there are some other cases that if he is found guilty of them, I think those are more serious crimes that people are commonly put in jail for, and that's a different story. But this one
the image of a former president in shackles.
It's not good.
To Terry's question, on the one hand, it's not good because it doesn't look good. And like the state next door to us, Illinois, has had like 3 of their last 5 governors go to jail, and it's pretty sad.
That's the question, isn't it?
But
is it a good thing? Yeah, or is it a terrible thing?
Or does it send the message that nobody's above the law, including our leader?
I think,
and many other countries have been jailed, imprisoned their leaders or even killed their leaders.
Right.
I think in the short term,
out of the United States, most of those countries, when a leader has been jailed, have been for the wrong reason. Truly, totally political. A guy comes in and wants to get rid of the guy.
No, I'm thinking more like Saddam Hussein, who was hung by his own people. And
that's how.
But I think with Trump or anyone for that matter, I think that in the short term, it would be a terrible thing for him to go to jail for any of these crimes. And I think what they should have done, and probably, I don't know enough about history to know like what happened to Napoleon, why he was exiled as opposed to a different punishment. But I think they used to just exile people like that. And instead of incarcerating,
those weren't democracies,
right? But
so
I don't. For this crime, nothing should happen. But if he is convicted of a serious crime, I think they should have.
Should he get a felony conviction?
What's that?
Should he get a felony conviction?
If he's convicted of a serious crime, but so in the short term, I don't think it's good to put him in jail. I think it would be very tumultuous. I think it would cause a lot of problems. In the long term, I think it is probably a good thing for democracy for people in the future to say and see that, okay, a former president in this country can be thrown in jail for crimes they commit if they commit crimes. And I think that's an actual deterrent.
It absolutely is, except for the situation that we have, where half the country thinks that That's not what happened.
That's why I'm saying
You
in the
know what
short,
I mean?
but I'm saying in the short term,
Yeah, but
that's why it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
but I do
but I
think
don't
in the
know how-
long
I don't
term,
know.
it probably
Yeah, but I think history
is the right thing to do.
History is yet to be written about how this is going to be viewed. I mean, you could see the United States spinning off into a very dark, bleak future from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a future
Which
where,
determines how history interprets it.
which will determine and say that Trump was a victim.
Right.
The government selected
For
him
sure.
and to ruin his electoral. I mean, that's the history that frighteningly we could be on the verge of writing.
No doubt.
And that's what.
But where's the funny in that?
What?
The funny. I'm waiting for something funny to come.
Oh, there's
out.
nothing funny. This is just a
well,
little
I'll tell you
serious
this,
talk.
and I've said this before.
We have any more
whether
sandwiches?
well, we can go back to some old favorites.
Oh, I don't.
Whether you love Trump politically or hate Trump politically, you cannot deny that he is a very funny man.
You know what? Yeah, either whether you're laughing with him or at him, he is funny.
Yeah, he is hysterical.
Yeah,
He really is. And
hell of a dancer.
Well, you never went on a golf course and didn't meet a Trump. He's that kind of guy. I've met a lot of him.
Listen, I'm not a Trump supporter, but he's funny.
He's funny. Listen, you know what?
Did you see the stuff?
I don't really support it. I think everyone's a nut. Anybody who even goes into politics to begin with, maybe they go in with good intention, but somewhere along the line, I don't know anyone that's ever come out of it with those same still.
And I think it gets
intact.
worse every year.
It has to.
You did it 20, 30 years ago. I think there were still, I don't know what word to use other than normal people who went into it and escaped with their lives. I think you have to be a very unique person who is either a very noble person who says, hey, I know this is going to destroy my life, but I feel that I can do good things for my city
I don't
or
fit
state
into
or
that
country.
category. Go to the next one.
Or I don't know.
If you're going to say lunatic,
Yeah, but you know,
Not
there's
lunatic,
different types of
just
lunatics.
in it for some
I'm
other
smart
reason.
enough
I
to
think
avoid stuff where you're going to face nonstop criticism.
yeah, but
who wants to live like that?
You know, people. There are those people that really want to tell everybody else.
Yeah,
what
they're drawn
do,
to power.
You know,
If you could be president, let's say that you could, there's a president button, and you could push it, and all of a sudden, Biden pardons Hunter, he resigns, Ed Herman, you're up, and you're going to win.
You know,
do you push the button?
Honestly, yeah, I probably would in that
You'd have
situation.
to.
I would have to. Honestly, I would reluctantly do the job because, truthfully, I think I would do it better. I think I would because I really am not wholly on one side or another side. Most of my views are very flexible and they live somewhere in the middle. I'm always looking. I'm a person that likes to find the common ground and then build on the common ground and expand from the common ground. So I would have to take that opportunity if given. Do I want that opportunity? No,
You take the job?
I don't want it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'd want it. I mean, and now here's the question. You know, and knowing what you know now, I would not take the job if George Bush was going to be president. I wouldn't take the job if Reagan was going to be president. I think the only person that
So
I
you
have ever
think
in my life,
you would do it to save the country.
I would do it if
God
I
help
had.
us.
And to be honest with you,
What does it mean if Terry's our last hope?
Oh, did I say something?
Oh,
did I say
let
that
me
out
tell
loud?
you something.
I said, God help
And
us.
I
I'm
know,
joking.
no, but you know in your heart,
Yes.
you would pick me over Trump.
Of course.
In a
heartbeat.
Dan,
No,
of
no,
course.
this is not even a question.
You know,
Honestly, I'd pick you over Biden.
So would I.
I would pick you guys over. You know, I mean, this is where we've sunk in this country.
What
Kinda
the hell?
sad.
I think
no,
we're good
no,
mates.
no, because
I would be a great president.
We're the ones they want in the office, but we're too smart to do it
we need
because they make no money and they get all criticism.
If there's ever been a time in our country, we need a great person.
I
We
don't
need
think
a statesman.
there isn't that person
of
because
course there are. This is a country of 350
No, but
million people.
what
There
I'm
are-
saying
there are
is
many
is
of them.
it's not, actually that's not the
People
right way
of
to say it.
character.
It's not that. It's that the constituents. There is no person who can unify the people.
No, but there are ways you can't unify everybody in their thought and opinion. You can unify everybody in how much value you treat an individual. You could make people feel in this society that their contributions and that their value are on an even footing.
Yeah, but I
think that's really the best you can hope for.
But you've got now a situation where my folks used to do this. My dad would come home and say, Dorothy, if I say it's day, you say it's night. We have an oppositional country where one party will never think about the immigration bill, which was written and approved by the Republicans to deal with immigration, and think we have a bill. It doesn't give every side everything they wanted, but it's a good compromise. And because one side didn't want the other one to have a victory, meaning they didn't want America to have a victory, they torpedoed it.
Right.
In an environment like that, I don't know who could come in and get any sort of unanimity unite us.
Do you think it's even possible to be a good president? Meaning, so you go into office and you have the best of intentions.
Right.
And like you say, you think you'd be a great president. But do you think that you find things out when you get there? National security secrets, UFOs, whatever it is, things that only the president is privy to and a very few number of people, that kind of forces you to do the job way differently. Because I thought Obama was going to be a very different president than he was. I'd elect him to another term if he was eligible. So this is not a criticism of Obama, but I thought he would be different in office than he was. And I think the reason he was different is because he at least tried to reach across the aisle and compromise. Right. But I just think that he wasn't able to be the person who I think he wanted to be or thought he would be once he got into office.
And that's what happens. We live in a country where most of the people that go to Washington and Congress do not want to solve problems. They do not
want to raise money.
They are only there to stay in power.
Yeah.
And they do not want to. They don't want deals. They don't want any kind of. Look at how many of them say we can't compromise anything. You have a democracy where the key element of a democracy is negotiation. Nobody wins 100%. You get to come together and you come to a consensus and you move forward. That's totally broken now. They will do anything they can to prevent progress.
Well, I think the biggest issue is that the people don't choose the issues. And what happens is money chooses what the wedge issues are. Mm-hmm. And they force that into people's brains. And that's all that becomes important. If you could change the narrative into whatever it is, childhood poverty or
they can't pass those bills anymore.
Right, but if you could change it so that people were equally as passionate.
People don't vote there.
But what you'd have to do is change the narrative. Instead of being passionate about whatever it is today that's controversial, everyone's passionate about children who don't have health care and die because they don't have health care. Infant mortality rates.
No, they aren't. That's the thing.
No, they aren't because money is it's like my algorithm.
For whatever,
it's like the people who get it, it gets in your head.
For whatever reason.
It's not whatever, it's money.
But I'm just saying, for whatever reason, they can't agree on health care
because
for children because of these other
factors.
Because
I think it becomes, because health care for children becomes a secondary issue. It's not the primary motivator, and so they corrupt it with other things.
Let me ask you this. Let's play it out. Where would that money come from? Like, who is going to be raising the money and advocating for that issue? Where's the big business interest in making sure that poor kids have health care? Because if there's not a big business interest to be had, then there's no money behind that objective.
Insurance companies.
If there's no money behind it, how are they going to do it? They don't want to cover them.
Well, they would get paid to cover them.
And cover them like they cover us, where everything we need, they say it's denied, and all the little
stuff.
Please
do not get me started on our health insurance.
Listen, I would love to know. You know what? In the comments, if anybody out there has a health insurance plan or company that they're actually quite pleased with, I would love to hear even one good story. Yeah. I know they're all good if you've got like catastrophic type stuff. But for all of the things that have come up in my life, they all seem to fall in a category of, oh yeah, no, we don't cover that. I'm like, why? This is the health condition I got.
Right.
Like I didn't get to choose which health conditions I got. This is the one I got. Why is it this and not that?
Right.
Have you ever heard of one person say, oh, you should have my health insurance company, best health insurance company. They'll pay for all the tough drugs.
Right. It's not like people talking about their new sneakers that they love.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my
I've
God,
never,
this
everybody
company
has
is-
one horrible
Yeah.
story
It's
after
like
the next.
health insurance companies took cable companies as their business model. You
It's,
know?
yeah.
I mean, companies that just want to put you on a logic tree call where you can never reach anybody.
Well, it all became
know, and
health
then they-
insurance companies just became math calculations
all right, well,
and
now
nothing
here,
else.
give something helpful to the people that have hung in this.
I
long.
will. 612-444-4444. Please call. Tell us you like us. Tell us you hate us. Tell us a story. We may use it on air. We may use it for a commercial, but we would love to hear and let us have it.
Give us
Don't
the
censor
feedback.
yourselves.
Area code 612. All fours, but there are no long distance charges
No.
anymore. It's an unusual area
Can we
code.
give a
We're
little
using
plug for
it
us
so
as
that we could
lawyers?
distinguish it away from our regular home area codes. This way you can call,
also,
leave what you want.
Besides eating sandwiches, we do have a law
practice
firm.
law.
We have the largest law firm in Missouri.
Injury law firm.
Injury law firm in Missouri. And we've been doing this for almost 50 years, and we'd love to help you if you ever get hurt.
Now, how about something that's actually helpful for them? We talked about industries that are terrible. Is
Yes.
there any brand of any product that you would go to bat for and tell people, this is the company you want to deal with? Their customer service is top-notch, other than Chick-fil-A. Their customer service is top-notch, or the quality of their product is so good, or the value is so good. Who would you champion?
I'd rather not answer that question.
Why?
Well, I feel like I'm painting myself in a very uppity light on this
Okay,
show.
we'll pick a different one
You
that's more to
probably
the
don't
common
want
man.
Because he'd have to speak in Italian to tell you the company.
Sweet Mama Lucius, come on.
Because I am the common man. I am.
You
I'm a
what?
man of the people.
And what people?
Oh,
What, the Rothschilds?
Nothing. Nothing that jumps out.
no.
At you as something.
I'm trying to think of a brand that I really think is just a great, stands by their product. Oh, I'll tell you, I like Yeti.
Yeah, it is a good product.
I like the Yeti thermoses. I use a lot of those.
That's it. They're very careful with what they stick their brand name on, because I've never seen a bad Yeti product. They
Yeah.
all seem to be very well made. People
Yeah.
swear by them. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's Yeti.
I'll
What
give you
about
a Yeti.
I hate to go back to because I know there are things
And Sears and Roebuck.
Sears. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pull it.
Yes.
No.
I like those little 6-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola.
And you have nothing.
You know what? I'll tell you where I get all my stuff. Bass
Bass
Shop.
Pro, yeah.
They got very reasonable. I'm very price sensitive.
Yeah.
I have all the stuff. It's all, look, it looks great. No, I do like Bass Pro.
He has every piece from the Ozark collection.
Yeah. Do you remember when we had our boat
Yeah.
and we went out and I wanted to go fishing, and the guy's telling me, I said, what kind of fish are we going to catch? He said, you're going to catch catfish. I said, great. He said, you be careful because they have spines on them, and if you get stuck, you'll end up in the hospital. So I put all this stuff back. We never
I was with
fished.
him.
We never fished once.
We were, but you sold it a little short, and then I know we're going to wrap up. But when we went to Bass Pro, we were determined. We were going
wanted
to be
to
fishermen. And we took, and this guy, sales guy, took us up and down the aisles.
We had a big shopping
Every
basket
single
full.
accoutrement, because you know us. Even before we've done something once,
Yeah.
we want all the
Gotta
equipment.
have the right gear.
It's got poles and this, that, everything under the sun. This guy was making the sale of a lifetime. And then he says, and you're going to need these rubber gloves.
He was going to take his kids to Disney on the commission.
And we said, well, what do we need those thick rubber gloves for? He said, oh, to make sure that the thing, because otherwise it'll slice right through you. Didn't take a moment. The two of us backed off like that.
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, you know what? This is
I don't
not
like-
for us.
I
We
don't
put
like
everything
touching
back and
fish.
walked out.
He made it
I
sound
don't like baiting the hook.
we would be safer, like hunting for
Yeah, the next
tigers.
time he saw a fish was at the Red Lobster.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, that was it.
No,
Hasn't
didn't
gone
am I
back
right?
since.
He made it sound like the chances of you going fishing for catfish, maybe 50-50 you return alive. I mean, he made it sound so horrible.
Do you see these
I think
people
that's how
who
we heard it.
Oh, the ones that
the
put
noodling?
those- yeah, they're crazy.
What
Don't
is
they-
noodling?
Oh, you see,
stick
they reach
their
into like I
arms
guess catfish maybe are in holes
on the banks
or something, and they
That's
let the
amazing.
catfish swallow their arm like up to their elbow,
and they pull
and then that's how you catch
They
it.
must not have teeth, I guess.
Who cares? It's the most disgusting
but
thing you could
couldn't-
possibly
but
do.
If they had teeth, they would bite your arm off.
Yeah,
Have you seen those
It can't be
videos where
pleasant.
they're cleaning out pipes that are filled with like thick mud, and you just wait, and it looks like this pipe is going to the bathroom,
Yeah.
but you can't stop because you need to then know how long is this mud,
Yeah.
like how long is this going to go, and then you want that release.
You know,
of that water pushing
Dr.
through.
Pimple Popper is the exact same program.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me tell you, I was early Dr. Pimple Popper.
Well, there you go, trendsetter right here, Andy.
Yeah,
Crippen.
yeah. I was,
Folks,
I
we're going to
was
wrap it up here.
early
Another
fan.
episode in the can.
Yeah.
Got a little heavier this time than I like.
That's great.
Not for me.
Why?
I'd like it a little funnier.
What part
I'd
did you
like to
feel
bring
like
the
it
funny.
got?
I think it got a
heard
little
laughter.
mired in deep political talk.
We
It
need
was
the
a little too serious
UFO.
for
Do we
me.
have
Yeah.
remember the UFO? You sent something out about it. We need a UFO.
Yeah,
we need
UFO guy. Oh, and you know who else we need? We got to get Robert Chambers. I think we can get him. Remember him? We were kids. The Preppy murder in Central Park.
Oh, yeah.
He was 19 and we were only like 15.
Why would we
were
want
very
him?
close to-
I thought you were just
know
saying
why?
you wanted funny.
No. We don't.
What, he's doing stand-up now?
I have no idea. All I know but he's out.
into comic murder now.
No, I'm just saying. I find it fascinating when these famous murders
Yeah.
from way ago, and then you think, wait a second, where is the guy now? Like Robert Chambers just out there living his
He's
life.
like working at Chick-fil-A in
Was he
Tuscaloosa.
convicted of
He
the
was.
crime?
He was.
Yeah.
Well, he actually was not convicted.
No, he wasn't?
The jury got so caught up in deliberation. It was going on so long, and they were suggesting that they might be a hung jury. The judge asked both sides to try to work out a plea bargain.
they gave
And
it-
at the
got
last
it.
minute, he plea bargained to first-degree manslaughter. He actually got a very short sentence, but wound up serving a longer sentence for dealing drugs. But he's out. He's out. And, he was a good-looking guy then. The good-looking guy now pisses
Let me
me
guess.
off.
He's got one of those aqua lung noses
He
and a
does.
full
Good
head of hair.
That
blue
means-
eyes.
that
He's
means
got
One of those
height.
Jethro Tull noses.
Aquiline means like an eagle, like
Right.
like a bee.
Yeah, he fits
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that. Yeah, well, he's not. He's only a few years older than us, but he's out
Right.
there. It's Mark David Chapman is still alive. The son of Sam is still alive.
So keep watching.
Doesn't that
folks.
freak you out? We're
Keep
going to have one
watching.
of these people on at some
What
point.
happened to Bernard Getz?
He's alive,
Free?
free. I don't even think he was convicted. I thought he was acquitted.
Oh, maybe you're right. No, he went to jail, didn't he?
Self-defense.
Did he get arrested maybe and go to jail for something
I don't
else?
know. You know what? Here's the most interesting one, and then we'll wrap. John Hinckley, who tried to kill Reagan, shot him, punctured his lung, but didn't kill him. Not only has he been out of jail, but he didn't go to jail. He went to an asylum.
Yeah.
He's out of there, and he has a very active YouTube channel where he plays guitar and sings. You can
Wow.
you can watch the,
Oh, you know what? I think I
musical
saw that.
stylings of John Hinckley as he still continues to win over Jodie Foster, despite
Oh, that's right. That's
his
why he did
track
it.
record.
They're living
If
together.
he's sitting
That's
there
right.
saying, if I'd only
He got her.
known,
Yeah,
if I'd only known she was a lesbian,
He says,
I would
finally.
have,
Would not have tried to
He's
do
the
it.
greatest example of a guy that kept at it.
Persistence.
Yeah.
He's it. Sometimes you just got to stick with it till you
Yeah.
till you get
No,
it.
he's
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. 612 all fours.
Yeah,
we will
let us-
see. We will
let us
see you
hear.
next. We will see you next time. And in the meantime,
Eat it,
go to
Elaine's.
Elaine's. I think you'll enjoy it. Very fresh. It almost felt like we were eating healthy,
Tell Elaine we said hi.
despite the chips on the sandwich. It's
And
still was
folks, we
healthy.
also do a little law on the side.
Yeah.
Be good. Get out.